Are you listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other platform where you can leave a rate or review? Do you like what we're doing? If the answer to all of that is yes, please consider quickly giving us a 5-star rate. And if you wouldn't mind leaving us a nice review, we greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, let's do this.
Hello, welcome to the Ghosts of Harrenhal. My name's Simon.
And I'm Mackelly.
Thank you for joining us for episode 343 of our chapter-by-chapter book review of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Today we'll be discussing chapter 71 of A Dance with Dragons, which is Daenerys 10. I feel like I'm choking up a little bit as I say all this.
I know, right? Well, as always, we'll chat about the chapter and try not to spoil any future plot points for you, unless, of course, you have a Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer tier that includes spoilers. Well, then, if you listen to that spoiler episode, we are going to spoil things for you, but regardless, hopefully we'll provide you some entertainment along the way.
We'll summarise what happened, discuss our thoughts on it, provide some useful background, compare it to the television show, indulge in a little pedantry, and cover some relevant news and listener correspondence. Be sure to check out the show notes. They'll provide some additional information about the characters and geography of this chapter. How are you, Mackelly?
I'm doing all right. I appreciate you recording a day earlier than our scheduled. Usually we record on Wednesdays, and this is a Tuesday, and the reason for that is that my little girl turns 20 tomorrow.
20? I was worried for a second you were going to say 21, but that's okay. We can live with 20.
Yes. Well, yes, we can, but it's just, I was asking her this past weekend, we were traveling, and I was like, how do you feel about the last few days of your teens, And she was like, it's kind of surreal. I don't know how I feel about it all. And, because you don't go back. Your teen years end, And she starts her first, real job tomorrow, working 8 to 5 on her 20th birthday. So a lot of big changes coming when the clock strikes.
Do you remember your 20th birthday? I have no recollection of mine at all.
No.
I remember my 19th quite distinctly, but I don't remember my 20th at all.
I remember my 19th as well. I found out on my 19th birthday that the girl I'd been dating at the time had cheated on me that day.
That day?
That day.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
Ouch.
Oh, yeah. That's those are teens for you. So
my 19th, I think I've told you the story of my 19th. We went to the pub where I lived, and there was only, I worked for a year between school and university for Shell at a big refinery in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
There was one pub. And so, and the pub was like 1.5 miles away, and we none of us had vehicles, so it was just like a big trek to get to the pub. So we didn't even go that often to the pub. But we went to the pub for my birthday, and we went to the bar, and all of the others were like, hey, it's his birthday today. And the barmaid, who knew us all, was like, oh, happy birthday. And they were like, guess how old he is? And she looked at me and she went, 16? Which was funny because 18 is the legal drinking age, and she'd been serving me for 6 months. I was like, all this time you thought I was 15?
Oh, yeah. Well, she should have at least said 18 for legal purposes, Yeah,
I mean, even
or
then
19.
She'd been breaking the law all
She
this
should
time.
have at least said 19, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
But actually, my other story this week involves legal drinking age, coincidentally, as it happens.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
I was talking to a friend at work, actually, a guy that you know, and he was telling me that he grew up in North Carolina. And when he was growing up, he is of a certain age that the legal drinking age was moved several times.
Okay.
Just at the point where he was getting old enough to drink.
In the wrong direction. It kept moving the bar.
It was moving away from him. But when he was 18, when he turned 18, he had 5 days when he could legally drink before the bar moved. But it moved a year. And so when he was 19, the first 5 days of him being 19, he also got 5 days of legal drinking. And again when he was 20. It happened each year. The bar just kept moving, but he got 5 days each year to sort of like load up.
That is That I don't even know. I mean, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? I was thinking about that. I was like, that's just mad. Like, if you like, you establish yourself. This is my local pub. I'll be seeing you a lot, and then you go 360
Right.
days missing, and then you come back again. Like, hey, I'm back
for 5 more days. Don't get too attached to me.
So my other story slightly involves the Carolina Hurricanes, who are involved in the Stanley Cup final, which is very exciting. And on Saturday, they played Game 3, which turned out to be one of the greatest games of all time. But I kind of missed it because I went to see a band. And we went to see this little bar, not too many, only a handful of people there. And we partly knew the band. The main guy in the band is a guy called Danny, who we know. After his set was over, he came and sat at our table. And I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and I could not find my phone.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, what happened? Carson said, you must have left it in the bathroom. So I went back to the bathroom, and it wasn't there. So I came back, and Danny was sitting where my phone had been. And I was like, I wonder if Danny's picked up my phone. But a second band had come on, so it was cacophonously loud in there. So
sure,
Carson did find my phone, and it was still somewhere in the bar. We knew this much. But we tried calling it, but I mean, there was no way anyone was ever going to hear it. So we were really tired and we wanted to go home. But this band that we weren't that interested in kept playing. So we had to sort of sit it out until they were done. And then without anyone asking for it, they played an encore.
They're just like, hey, we got some more songs. Oh,
there were
just
only
keep
like 12
asking.
people in there and nobody was clapping. And so finally, when they got off stage, Carson called my cell phone. And sure enough, the main guy from the first band has nicked my phone. He says, I'll help you look for your phone, Simon. Just let me take this call. He was like, oh.
No.
I was like, oh, great. And the kicker of all this was that, so the hockey was a very exciting game. Carolina had fallen 4-0 behind. And in the time it took for this phone call to go through and the phone to be given back and apologies to be made and all this kind of thing, Carolina scored 3 goals, which I missed all of.
Maybe you should have just let him keep the phone for the rest of the game.
That's a good point.
Because it ended up being, was it 4-3, the final?
No. Carolina got the equalizer in the last couple of minutes, so it went to overtime. Went to double overtime. So I was up till 1 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, that's rough.
But we did lose in double overtime. But I will say, I actually feel a lot better about losing in double overtime than I would have done if we'd just lost 4 or 5-0 after the abysmalness of how we play. Yeah. So reasons for optimism.
Yeah,
we can live with this.
It's funny you mentioned going to watch a band because...
Oh, you did that too?
Yes, Stacy and Molly and I drove all the way from here to Pittsburgh, and Ethan, who's doing his internship in Detroit, drove from Detroit back to Pittsburgh for a concert at Acrisure Stadium. So it was a really big concert, nearly 70,000 people.
That's where the Pittsburgh Steelers play.
It is indeed.
Who are an American football team.
Yes. Well,
I know you know that, Mackelly. I'm talking to the audience.
I appreciate you filling everyone in who may not know that. So,
yeah, honestly, until you told me this last week, I didn't know the name of the Pittsburgh Steelers football stadium.
Well, for a long time, it was called Heinz Field because Heinz...
That I knew, yeah.
Pittsburgh is the original home of Heinz ketchup. So, Pittsburgh's weather can be a bit dodgy, and in this time of year, it can be especially dodgy. But we get up there on Thursday, and it is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Friday, not a cloud in the sky. Absolutely beautiful.
I sense something.
Fortunately, the weather forecast showed not just rain, not just lightning, but hail and tornadoes right over the prime hours of the concert.
No.
So, we spent a lot of money. The kids, everybody but me, was very excited. We had multiple 4 nights in hotels, and not to factor in all the other expenses. So a lot was invested in this. And Saturday dawns a beautiful day, but they keep talking about these storms, these wind events and storms that are coming. So we're having lunch, still beautiful. And we get a a message. Stacy gets a message because she bought the tickets saying that the event has been canceled and that we'll be refunded our money. So we drove all the way up there. Beautiful weather the whole time. The event gets canceled and the storm never materializes. It was a beautiful day. There was a little bit of rain for like a half hour around 3:00, but the main act didn't go on till like 9 p.m. So, yeah.
Okay, Mackelly, it's just me and you. Nobody's listening.
Right,
okay.
yeah.
How thrilled are you?
Stacy said this morning, I bet you were pretty relieved. And in a vacuum, I would have been, yes. But they were all so devastated that I couldn't help but be devastated for them. I would have put up with the hours of music I had no interest in for them to not feel as sad and dejected as they were. So, yeah, we turned around and all drove back to our respective homes the next morning.
Look, you had a beautiful few days in Pittsburgh.
We did, yes.
I mean, to me, it's a win-win. This, you know, and the biggest expense of it got refunded.
Yes, you make very solid point there. We saw family. We went to a family reunion. It wasn't our family, but we went to a family reunion.
They're the best kind to go to.
We were invited into the picture. We were like, no. They're like, yes. So we're in this family's family reunion photo forever now. So anyway,
that's awesome.
It was a good time. It was a nice time, but technically it was for naught.
Yeah. Anyway, it's time we got down to business, right?
Yes, let's do so.
How did we leave Daenerys Targaryen? Last we saw of Daenerys, she was attending the grand reopening of Daznak's pit. She unknowingly saved Tyrion and Penny's lives by refusing to allow lions to be set upon them. Strong Belwas unknowingly possibly saved Dany's life by eating all the poison locusts that King Hisdar had urged Daenerys to eat. When the blood and noise attracted Drogon to the pit, she rushed to defend him from Hisdar's commands to kill the dragon. And finally, she absconded from the pit on the dragon's back. Mackelly, why don't we give the summary of this one?
Okay. It took Dany half the morning to climb down from the rocky hill somewhere deep in the Dothraki Sea. She's dubbed the hill Dragonstone. It's atop this hill that Drogon has made his lair. Based on the burned and broken bones lying around the lair, he's called this place home for a while.
We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. Are you ready to make some unforgettable memories? Well, if so, consider the Marriott Bonvoy program. Discover the perfect destination for your summer getaway and unlock exclusive deals on luxurious accommodations. With our affiliate partnership, you'll enjoy unbeatable savings and a seamless booking experience. Don't let summer slip away. Visit Marriott Bonvoy today and make this vacation season one for the books. Use our Ghosts of Harrenhal affiliate page to check it all out and buy Bonvoy points or give some as a gift. The link to our page is in the show notes.
From a spire of the hill, Dany spotted water to her south, a small stream, but small streams lead to larger ones, which lead to small rivers and eventually to the Skahazadhan. From there, she could find her way back to Meereen. She had hoped to return on Dragon's Back, but Drogon has other plans.
Having no binding spells or horns to control Drogon, Dany has taken to using her whip. However, unlike a horse, Dany has learned to whip the dragon on the side she wants him to turn. A horse's first instinct is to turn away from danger, whereas a dragon's instinct is to attack. Although, in reality, Drogon didn't go anywhere he didn't want to go, and no matter how far they flew in a day, he always returned to his lair in the night.
As she walks toward the stream, she wonders if she will ever ride Drogon again. On his back, she feels complete. She had been happy on Dragonstone. What's an empty belly when you can fly? But it was time she returned to her duties as queen and to her husband's arms.
She remembers her first time in the Dothraki Sea. Her life had been so full, but it all fell apart when Drogo died and she lost her son. Only her dragon's hatching and Drogo's pyre spared her from being sent back to Vaes Dothrak in a life with the Dosh Khaleen. The fire did nothing more than burn off her hair, and the same was true in Daznak's pit. She doesn't remember a lot from that chaotic scene, but she remembers the feeling of flying away from it.
When she finally finds the stream, she follows it and dreams of rescue, possibly Sir Barristan, Hisdar, her blood riders, but she pictures Dario most vividly. She assumes he and the other hostages must be freed by now, and the Yunkai host heading home. There was peace after all, and that is why she had done all that she had done.
Well, you see, the thing is this. 3 times she sees Drogon flying that day, first far off, then closer, then right overhead. Yet he continues past her. While she falls asleep against the remnants of an ancient wall, her mind lands on Hisdar shouting to kill Drogon and strong Belwas on his knees. She deduces that the locusts Hisdar urged her to eat were poisoned. But why would Hisdar want her dead?
She dreams of Quaithe. The Shadowbinder reiterates her prophecies and tells Dany to remember who she is. The dragon knows. The next morning she finds a bush full of berries. Assuming they are the same berries the Dothraki use when they cook, she eats many. Within an hour, stomach cramps take her to the ground. She spends the remainder of the day retching a green slime. She lies thinking of death and sees a wisp of smoke from the far-off Dragonstone. Drogon has returned from his hunt.
Now diarrhea grips her. She sleeps and dreams of Viserys, possibly from the watery stool reminding her. She sees his death mask, but he's quite...
By the way, George Martin did not say that in the book. That is editorializing by Simon and Mackelly.
She sees his death mask, but he's quite chatty, actually. You never mourned me, he says. She counters that she loved him once. He lists all his sacrifices for her, and she mentions his abuses. He feels that she betrayed him, siding with the horsemen against him. She blames his impatience. He angers and threatens her with a woken dragon. He wonders why the eggs went to her. On Dragonback, he would have taught the world the meaning of the Targaryen words.
She wakes to blood between her legs. She's worried, but the sight of the moon makes her realize it's just her time of the month. Thinking back, it seems a while since this last happened. Practically delirious, she cries over the child that Drogon killed. She won't have a daughter. Her children are dragons. But the grass thinks that she has turned against her children. There is a lot of blood, and it takes all her energy just to stand.
She staggers on, her feet in the stream, the sun beating down. The water will take her home. Except Meereen is not home, and it never would be. Now the grass seems to have Jorah's voice, telling her she should have gone to Westeros. They argue, and she admits that she stayed in Meereen partly because she was tired. She wanted to rest, laugh, plant trees. He drifts away, reminding her that dragons don't plant trees.
She trips, but just at that moment there is movement in the grass. She grips a small rock, better than no weapon at all. She hears tinkling bells. She cries out in a feeble whisper for Aggo, Jogo, or Rakaro. The grass parts to reveal a different Dothraki entirely, but he does not notice her. He has eyes only for the dragon in the sky. He rides away as his horse gets restless. Dany waits for the sound of the hooves to recede before calling out for Drogon, who comes. She climbs aboard, saying, "To go forward, I must go back." Drogon chases the Khalasar. He sets a horse on fire and lands to consume it. Dany slides off and joins the feast. She's so hungry. But at that point, Khal Jacko and 50 armed warriors surround her.
And so ends Dany's storyline that we have thus far.
Yeah, well, she hasn't gone crazy yet then.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Targaryen madness has not gripped her. Although with all she's going through, I couldn't really blame her at this point.
No, yeah. It's funny actually. This chapter, as I was reading it, as I'm reading it, I'm always thinking about the comparison with the TV show, and I was like, I don't really remember any of this from the TV show. And then I realized it's because it was kind of like it was all introspection. She was just wandering along a stream, just thinking and thinking for the whole chapter. It's like that wouldn't have made great TV.
No, that would have been a pretty boring episode. So the Dragon Lords of Ovalaria, they, according to Dany in this chapter, they used spells and horns to control the dragons, and Dany is stuck with just this whip that she has. And I'm not sure where she got that information from, that they used spells and horns, but it does give credence to Euron's dragon horn that is now floating in the Slaver's Bay with Victarion. So,
yeah, I mean, just given what happened when the horn was blown, I kind of believed that it would work to bind a dragon. Something about it gave off that dragony vibe.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, I do wonder how it was used. I mean, there was a lot of slavery back then, but I mean, that's a pretty rough end for any slave. You know, you'd probably want your second horn blower to not know about the first one.
Right. Yes.
Or maybe just the sight of the horn was enough for the dragons. Like, oh God, not that thing. Yeah, I'll do whatever you say.
Not that noise. Yeah. Well, we do have 2 free dragons flying around Meereen, where Victarion is headed with the horn. So I wonder, could he take control of one or both of them before Dany ever returns?
We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by Audible. To get a free audiobook, or 2 if you're an Amazon Prime member, go to our exclusive URL, audibletrial.com/ghostsharrenhal. You can find the link in our show notes.
Possibly. It's interesting. I kind of like the fact that the dragon, she had to look. So it is interesting that she rode the dragon multiple times. It's kind of when the scene sort of starts, I had the feeling that she'd flown to the Dragonstone, unloaded there, and now Drogon had flown off and she was just like on her own. But in actual fact, she'd been back on board and had been practicing her flight.
Yes, yeah. It seems like a bit more of passenger than driver, but she does seem to have some influence, if not necessarily control, over Drogon.
Yeah, it feels like she's figured out what theoretically would work. If I hit him on the right side, he'll turn to the right, which is, as she says, the opposite of what a horse would do.
Right.
And again, world building, George Martin can't be beat. That's really just a clever thought, that it would work differently. But specifically, he behaves that way towards the whip when he cares to, but when he wants to go somewhere, that's where they're going, and she has no choice but to go along. She can whip him all she wants.
Yeah, clearly she has not exerted enough control to get back to Meereen, or at least some civilized location.
For sure.
So,
and he was wounded last time he went there. Maybe he's, smarter than she thinks.
True.
Like,
yes, that could be.
Back there anytime
but
soon.
She's leaving. She left, and so she's giving up on those training sessions and lessons.
But was she? I mean, to a certain extent, she just needed a drink of water. There wasn't much to eat and drink up on the Dragonstone.
Well, there was that
the nature of it.
that pond.
Oh, there was a pond, but would a pond go stagnant? I mean,
I think she said it was spring fed. So I wondered about the pond, if it would dry up, because Drogon's up there breathing, evaporating the water before it can fill the pond.
No, you're right. So she wasn't just leaving because she was hungry and thirsty. She really was trying to get back to Meereen. That was her goal here, because several times it felt like she and Drogon were keeping an eye on each other, even though they were separated. And so it felt like maybe she wasn't completely sundered. But at the same time, yeah, you're right. Her path back to Meereen, which logically is follow streams down, and they'll eventually gather together and go to the sea. And it should be Meereen where they hit. Well, if she knows where she is, of course. The Dothraki Sea is pretty large.
It's huge.
She could be quite a bit east or west of where she thinks she is. But so, yeah, I mean, in many ways, it was always destined to end the way it did, though, because you can't walk shoeless for that kind of distance.
Right.
Easily, especially if you're already hungry and thirsty and the only and nothing to shade herself. I mean, she talks about trying to build a hat out of grass, and she tries again and again and cannot get it to work. So she must be frazzled by the sun.
Yes. absolutely. That would be, especially since she doesn't even have any hair to protect her scalp. So her scalp. Oh,
what must that be like?
I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. But I wondered, rather than starting from home base and walking all that way, why not just stay with Drogon and ride Drogon, and then the one time he flies the furthest, whatever direction you feel Meereen is in, then you disembark.
Well, very true. Actually, that's an excellent point, especially because you have to climb down the rock.
Right,
I mean, like,
yeah.
Presumably he lands when he goes flying.
Yes.
Climb off him there and say thank you for your service.
Right.
Yeah.
She could save herself a great deal of distance if she, strategically planned that out. But you mentioned
save
something.
that for pedantry. Although, wait for pedantry because I got a doozy.
Okay.
I got a good one.
You mentioned them keeping an eye on each other, and the first day she's walking, she spots Drogon 3 times that day. Once very far away, then a bit closer, and then he flies right above her, and she thinks that he took no notice of her, and I think it was more of what you had just said. I think he was keeping an eye on her.
Yeah. The first time she bumped into someone who was a threat to her.
Yes.
Drogon was on the scene in no time at all.
Who was there the minute someone else made contact with her? That felt more than just coincidence to me. So, yeah, I agree with you on that. He's watching out for his mother.
Yep. And also, I mean, I think the Dothraki would have literally spotted her because, I mean, he was standing right next to her, but his eyes were averted looking at the dragon, and then the horse got afraid because the dragon was coming, and so he rode away, and that's the only reason she wasn't captured there and then.
I agree.
As a bodyguard, he leaves a bit to be desired if he lands amongst them and gets captured, but,
Yeah, true.
She thinks the grass is dying, but why do you think this is?
Well, presumably it's because winter is coming, as the Starks would let us know.
Mm-hmm.
But at first I thought it odd that winter would be affecting this region of Essos. But when you look at a map, the Dothraki Sea is so huge that it stretches far north all the way to the Shivering Sea, which is the northern sea above Essos. So then that made me wonder, is that a sign of just how far away she is from Meereen?
Do we think that Essos has the same kinds of seasons as Westeros?
I would think so. I would.
Well, you say that, but I mean, Europe and northern Canada are at the same latitude, but they have very different weather.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Well, it seems to be.
But they do have the same length of days. I mean, that's the one thing. They have the same length of days. But again, the randomness of short or long winters is hard to explain, and so you don't really know what's going on.
Right. Until we do, we wouldn't be able to know whether they're.
Yeah. But that is interesting because if you think of, I mean, it's kind of easy to think of Essos as kind of Asia, sort of like this could be the sort of the steppes of Asia. You'd imagine that to be grassy, and also for that grass to get winterized, by cold weather. So.
It's odd to think about the Dothraki Sea grass dying for the winter, but it makes sense if winter is coming to this region.
Yeah. So she recalls when Drogo died and the fallout after his death between the various people vying for control of the Khalasar. Yeah. So you're going to have to remember here, Mackelly, because I can't, literally.
Well, okay, so she thinks of 3 men when she thinks of Khal Drogo dying and the fallout. First, Pono, who went from being Drogo's to being his own Khal, and he took about 10,000 of Drogo's Khalasar with him. We actually heard of Pono not that long ago. He was recently seen near Selhorys, and his Khalasar is now up to 30,000, so it's tripled in size since that time. That was a Tyrion chapter when they were in Selhorys.
Yes, that's right. Oh, They were on one side of the river.
Yes.
Yes, I remember now.
And, I mean, that's fairly far away from where Dany is, so, I mean, who knows? They might have turned around right then and headed back, so his Khalasar could be in the area, but...
Yeah. So, Khal Jacko, who's the guy who finds her at the end of this chapter, he also elevated himself from a Co to a Khal, and he took the largest part of Drogo's Khalasar, around 20,000, and so, obviously, we know where he is now, because he's right here.
Yes, he is.
And also is brave enough to surround a dragon.
Yeah, that's a decision.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's the wisest of decisions, but it's a decision. That's
my mum always told me that I had Targaryen blood. We're gonna find out, Jacko.
Then the third man she thinks about is Mago. Now, Mago didn't become a Khal like Pono and Jacko did. Mago raped Dany's handmaiden, Iroa, that she was a Lazarene woman that Dany had rescued from rape in the village where she met Mirri Maz Duur.
Yeah.
So, after Drogo died, Mago raped her, and then Jacko gave Iroa to 6 other men, and then they killed her. And when Dany found out about this, she vowed that Mago and Jacko would beg for Iroa's fate before she was done with them. And now Mago is one of Jacko's blood riders. So,
okay.
So
they're both on scene.
It seems like
she can get her revenge. That'll come in handy.
It could get her revenge, but also 2 men that aren't exactly her biggest fans.
Yeah.
So.
Dany has some fairly wide of the mark misconceptions about the status of things in Meereen since she left. Understandably, I mean, one assumes, you know how it is. You walk out of a room, you just assume that everything behind you just freezes in place, just waiting for your return.
Right?
Yes, you know this.
Oh yes, one of us knows this anyway.
She's hoping for a rescue by Barristan, her blood riders, by Hisdar, by Daario. I mean, all reasonable. These are all people who have, on the surface, a vested interest in seeing her come back. Her blood riders are out looking for her.
Yeah, they're her best, really only bet of being rescued by a friendly face.
Right.
So, and Barristan is, I'm sure he would go looking for her, but he's got to run the city in her absence, because he's the only one that truly has Dany's interests at heart, at least he believes.
Yeah, and plus, if I was Barristan, even if I didn't have other responsibilities, I would leave it to the Blood Riders. They're much more likely to survive and thrive out there looking for her and to track her,
Yeah.
It's not easy to track someone who's flying, but they might be able to do it. He's better off coordinating things.
Yeah. That's true. And she thinks about Hisdar, but he was ruling as if she were dead and basically said as much.
Right. And to a certain extent, I mean, obviously everything Hisdar does is self-serving, but I think there is a genuine belief, even Barristan's beginning to believe, that she might have died that day.
Yeah, the longer it goes, the harder it is to keep the faith that she isn't dead. I understand that for sure. Yeah.
And the other one she thinks about, of course, is Daario. And Daario sure would love to find her, but he is still a hostage of the Yunkai, so that's not...
Another one of her misconceptions. She assumes the hostages have been released. Wait till she finds out about Grolio and Hisdar's family, the fate of those 2 different factions of the hostages.
It is... that she thinks the peace would be holding, the Unkaish would be going home, the hostages freed. You might want to think about Drogon's effect on the peace.
Yeah, that's true.
Because she doesn't know who died.
Right.
But she does know that everybody was invited to that. And then, as if the Meereenese sprung a trap, the dragon came in, So she should see that as at least a little bit tenuous. But, I mean... Well, what's the point of speculation at this point? Just trudge on, lady. Trudge on through the mud.
Well, she thinks about the Yunkai having gone home because she did all she did for this peace. And I wondered if that's a possible concern for Barristan. He's been fretting mightily over his decisions and whether the decisions that Dany would want. And the Green Grace told him just in the last chapter that peace is all that matters. And arresting Hisdar directly had a significant impact on that peace. The return of the Sons of the Harpy within the city, and now war with the Yunkai outside of the city. But on the other side of the coin, he also was saving her dragons from attempts to kill them, because that's what the Yunkai wanted. And what Hisdar, at least Skahaz, was convincing Barristan, Hisdar was going to eventually do, agree to kill the dragons.
Yeah. So in her feverish dreams, she's visited by Quaithe, who restates part of her prophecy. And the part that she restates is, to go north, you must journey south. To reach west, you must go east. To go forward, you must go back. To touch the light, you must pass beneath the shadow. Remember who you are. The dragon knows. And that's an interesting last bit, actually, because in this context, the call to remember who she is, does the dragon know who she is, meaning Drogon knows who you are? Or is she saying that if you are the true dragon, that you know who you are?
Oh, yeah. I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Remember who you are. The dragon knows.
Right.
So you should know.
If you're the dragon, you should know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've gone through that prophecy plenty of times.
I will say a lot of it could be right this second. Think about what you just said. Like, to go south, go north. Maybe a huge band of this river is just to the north of her, and she could fly there on Drogon and just sail down to Meereen.
Yeah, there's that option. It sounds like the part, to touch the light, you must pass beneath the... Well, back up even before that. To reach west, which we would think would mean to get to Westeros, you must go east. Then, to touch the light, you must pass beneath the shadow. It sounds like the Shadowbinder of Asshai wants her to go to Asshai before she goes to Westeros.
Fancy that.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
But there's another line in there. To go forward, you must go back. And when she jumps on Drogon's back, she says to herself, to go forward, I must go back. Does that mean she has to deal with the Dothraki in some manner? The fact that she has this theoretical obligation to go be with the Dosh Khaleen and Vaes Dothrak.
Right.
Unfinished business, sort of.
Yeah. And when we get to spoilers and speculation, we might talk about that. You know, where is this story heading? Because that is a possible destination here. Although Jacko may have some sort of harbored ill will towards her, he also might think, well, her responsibility is to go to Vaes Dothrak and hang with the Dosh Khaleen. She is a widow of a Khal.
And that's one of the... At this point, that's probably the best she can hope for from him if she gets captured by him.
Keeps her alive, at least. Yeah.
And so one other thought regarding Quaithe's prophecy is that Daenerys realizes that Hisdar is the likely poisoner of the locusts, and she thinks about, I've given him everything. Why would he want me dead? And then she thinks, could there be someone else? And one of the names she comes up with is Reznak, because he is a perfumed seneschal, and Quaithe said, beware of the perfumed seneschal. So we've discussed that it feels a little bit too easy for it to truly be Hisdar, that is the son of the Harpy and that was trying to kill Dany with the locust. Possibly maybe this is where Quaithe's prophecy is accurate, that it's actually Reznak for whatever reason.
Yeah, and maybe Hisdar is just a part of the plan. You know, he's told, someone whispers in his ear, make sure she eats some of those locusts.
Right.
And that's all he knows, you know?
Or maybe he really thinks they're good and he just wrong place, wrong time when he said that.
But now Daenerys believes the same thing that Barristan believes, that Skahaz believes, that that he was intentionally trying to poison her.
Right. Yeah. They're all on the same page at the moment.
Honestly, I think she actually... It's impressive to me. She should be like a police officer, because I think one of the things that sort of like police officers do well is notice strange things in a crowded situation. And to spot that Strong Belwas was poisoned while you're being attacked by a dragon is quite the thing.
That is so true. I wondered whether she was even going to have realized that anything was happening with Strong Belwas. There was absolute chaos.
Exactly.
Reigning around her, and she had the wherewithal to notice that Strong Belwas was on the ground.
To be throwing up off a few locusts.
Right.
He was eating them down like Molly Schuyler, but
Molly Schuyler. That's a throwback.
For those who don't remember who Molly Schuyler was, she's the professional eater we talked about to find out whether or not she thought it was reasonable that Daenerys could eat the horse's heart. Answer: not likely.
Yes, that's right. And was it ooh or
Yeah, first of all, ugh.
Yeah.
And that was a professional eater saying that.
Oh, wow. You pulled that from the Wayback Machine.
You know what? Our occasional forays into the world of other things stick in my head.
I guess so.
Just this book doesn't stick.
We've picked the wrong subject matter.
So Dany is obviously very sick. She's got diarrhea, she's vomiting, and then later heavy bleeding. She assumes it's her moon blood, but it gets quite bad. This apparently has caused heavy debate amongst our fandom. The possible causes, of course, it could be the pale mare. It seems weird that this would set in now after all that time being exposed to all these people who could have given it to her. Now she catches it from the dragon.
It's dragon sickness. It does. We don't know exactly how long it's been, but it feels like it's been a while since there was any opportunity for contraction of the pale mare.
Right. That's how I feel about that. That's an idea, yeah.
But she does at the very beginning of the chapter feels like she has the beginning of a fever. So, I guess there's that little connection there. The symptoms are similar. She's got the diarrhea and blood involved and all kinds of stomach cramps and all the things. So there is that.
Yeah. She obviously was poisoned by those berries. I mean, that definitely happened. She ate the berries and then she got stomach cramps. So the berries weren't good for her. But it does feel like all of the symptoms she's showing seem a bit extreme for a handful of berries.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how poisonous the berries are.
Yeah.
The fact that the cramps started an hour after she ate the berries seems like they were involved in one way or another.
Right. But I know what you're getting at, I think. I think it is possible that the berries triggered something else.
Yes.
But the berries themselves, I don't think would have caused all of these symptoms, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, it could just be her time of the month, but it feels like I've heard ladies complain, and if it was as bad as all this, they would complain even more,
Yes. I hesitate to venture any thoughts on that particular subject. She believes it's her moon blood.
Right, she does, yeah.
But again, I don't know. I have absolutely no platform to stand on here, but it feels like I do know this much. There would be a different source if it's the pale mare or the poison berries versus her moon blood. If you follow the bleeding, I mean.
Yes. From where is the bleeding coming? I see what you're saying. I see what you're getting at.
So
yes.
And now she mentions it's much heavier than usual. I don't know if that could be trauma related or what, but
I too have no knowledge here. But I'm going to say she knows where that blood is coming from. If she thinks it's moon blood, it's coming from where she thinks it's coming from.
Right.
She wouldn't mistake it. She had such chronic diarrhea that she was bleeding from the butt. She would not be thinking, "Oh, that's my moon blood."
Right. Yes.
She would know the difference.
So there could be could be two separate things going on. She could be sick, and
she could be sick from the berries
her moon blood.
and have her period. Yes, this is possible.
Yes.
But the one that I think seems likely, because she specifically thinks, it's been a while since I've had this happen.
Yes.
Is that she's had a miscarriage, which is fascinating on many levels. One is, who's the father? The suggestion would be Dario Naharis, not Hizdar. Did she ever sleep with Hizdar?
I think on their wedding night.
On their wedding night. But wasn't their wedding night very recent?
I can't say off the top of my head how long.
It's not months, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's not months.
She questions, has it been half a month? Has it been a month? Has it been 2, 3? She thinks, no, it couldn't have been that long.
Right.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
But she was sleeping with Dario for quite a bit before that, so
there's certainly more opportunity. Yes,
right.
For sure.
So, but then that makes what Mirri Maz Dor told her a lie.
Right. Now, so as far as the miscarriage goes, it could have been turmoil, all that she's gone through, the exhaustion, hunger, thirst, which would not be good for a pregnancy at any level.
Right, yes.
Or like you were suggesting a few minutes ago, eating these berries, poisonous at whatever level, could possibly have brought this on, almost like an accidental berry version of moon tea.
Absolutely. Yes. That's what I meant when I said that if it's the berries, they've triggered something else, not just done this by themselves.
Right. Yeah.
So I have to say, my reading of this was she's had a miscarriage.
Me too.
If she's had a miscarriage, then Mirri Maz Dor was lying to her about something that matters a lot for her future.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on it. Was the timing when she started counting back. She thought,
exactly.
Wait,
that's what made me think.
She saw a crescent moon and she thought, oh, it's just my moon's blood. And then she thought, but wait, the moon is only a crescent, which makes me think she would not be expecting it yet. And then she starts ticking back. How long has it actually been? Could it have been as long as 3 months ago?
She also was delirious while she was doing this calculation as well. So
yeah, true. Yeah. But so what Mirri Maz Dor said to her was that when the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, when the seas go dry and mountains blow in the wind like leaves, when your womb quickens again and you bear a living child, then he will return to you. And that is the answer to the question, when will Drogon return as he was?
Right.
So,
Mirri Maz Dor might, from behind the grave, say, she didn't bear a living child. I'm still right.
yes, that is true. And all these things,
I think her womb did quicken.
Right. All these things are supposedly outlandish events, right? The sun rising in the west and setting in the east, and the seas going dry, and the mountains blowing like wind, and all that seems outlandish. And then you get to the womb quickening and bearing a living child, which makes it seem like it's as unlikely. Yes.
Right.
But there are a few things that we could consider here, such as the sun rises in the west and sets in the east.
Oh, if you had a big mirror.
Right. That's it. Well, we did just have the sun's son, Quentin Martell, who was born in Dorne and died in Meereen.
East. How fascinating, Mackelly.
So,
well done.
Then the seas go dry and the mountains blow in the wind like leaves.
The Dothraki Sea is not the wettest?
It is not right now. We know, well, at least according to Dany, I don't know if she, how well she is accurate on these kind of things, but she says that the sea is, the grass is browning and dying. So,
and all right, what about the mountains blowing in the wind like leaves?
Yeah, that one's a little trickier, but what about the possible destruction we've seen of the pyramids from the dragons?
Think of the pyramids as mountains.
They're kind of mountainous, right?
Yeah.
Right? You could take the more literal, different type of literal interpretation, and it could be the mountain, Gregor Clegane, having died, or theoretically died, or maybe he's not. I don't know.
But the thing is, the thing is, in Mirri Maz Dor's prophecy, the payoff is a weird thing because Drogon Drogo is dead.
Yeah,
so
seems unlikely.
To her.
He's been not just dead. He's been dead and burned. So it's not like his body can even rise out of a grave or something. So yeah, that seems unlikely. that Drogo would return.
So maybe none of this is a prophecy. Maybe this is just a simple statement of fact. Here's some things that never happen, and here's one more.
Right. Yeah. Now,
and in the middle of that, I'm going to put something mean and spiteful towards you.
Yeah. But like you said, sadly, this pregnancy doesn't seem likely, if she is pregnant, we're just conjecturing, to bear a living child, but possible we had a womb quickening here. And if that's the case, maybe she could get pregnant again.
Right. Absolutely.
And about the cow, about Drogo's return, she was found by Khal Jocko. Maybe if she's taken to the Dosh Khaleen, maybe she will unite all the Khalasars, or in some way bring Drogo back in some figurative manner rather than literal. But what does the pregnancy mean for her? She didn't factor heirs into any of her marriage plans. She's never factored heirs. Since Rhaego died, she's never factored heirs in.
And of course, given all the trauma she's just going through at this moment, and the fact she's feverish, and now she's about to be captured by, people who wish her ill intent, is she even going to remember? Is it even going to occur to her, do you know what? Did I have a miscarriage? Or is she just going to forget about it?
Oh.
Because it may never land on her that she had a miscarriage.
Because she never considers it as an option.
No.
When, while she's thinking about it.
Right. In the cool light of day, she might, but she also, in the cool light of day, she might forget some of the things that happened during this time of fever.
That's true. That's possible.
Yeah. So we know, but maybe she doesn't, and maybe this will be part of the story going forward.
Do you think if she does think it through, like she did with the poisoning and strong Belwas and putting all those pieces together, that will it make her more choosy with her marriage plans? Reject Hizdar regardless of his crimes and betrayal? Because she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to have children with Hizdar.
Right. And it might make the people who are coming to her with high-born noble blood offers more attractive. The Quentins of this world.
Yeah, for instance, the Fagons.
The Fagons of this world.
Right. Yeah. Keep that Targaryen line pure.
Yeah. Dany then dreams of her brother Viserys. It's a very strange scene because he's his usual self. He's absolutely obnoxious, of course, but he's sympathetic as well. It's pitiful and sad, and obviously it's just her imagination of him. But at the same time, it is like, he abused her horribly, but he was trying to do something for both of them. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice to him.
No, I get it. It was a sad conversation. He's such an awful person, but he's also a very tragic character. And we've discussed him before, that he was so young when he was left to his own devices and care for his little sister. Now, care for is debatable and would need to be put in quotes, but he was, from such a young age, he was forced to be so humbled and belittled, going place to place looking for help, offering promises that were unlikely never going to be kept, laughed at, mocked at. That's going to form in your personality, in your being. That's going to shape you. And it will create just an angry, jaded person. But if he had been just a little more patient or a little more trusting, like Daenerys said, you didn't have to come to Vaes Dothrak. Only I did. You could have waited in Pentos with Magister Illyrio. So if he had been either more patient or more trusting, the world might have really opened up vastly for him.
Yeah. I mean, we knew this at the time that he died, but if you really think back on it, like she says, Khal Drogo was going to give you what you wanted. He was going to give you the things that you desired.
Right.
But you never understood the Dothraki, that they don't make a deal like, it's not just A for B. It's you do me some favors and I'll do you some favors and we'll see how it goes. And you forcing it was always going to end up the way it did.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, beyond that, even the dragons hatched. And beyond that, even the pact with Doran Martell for him to marry Ariane Martell has been
Who's
divulged.
a looker.
Right. And the backing of Dorne, all these things might have been, his for
his.
Yeah,
exactly.
his, generally his, had he been more patient. And it would be interesting to see how he and Dany would have interacted with the dragons and how the dragons would have interacted with them. Would they have gravitated toward, would one have gravitated toward this sibling and another one gravitated toward another sibling?
Well, I wonder if some of this dreaming of him is actually regret of that. That they could have been two dragon riders now.
Yeah. Boy, Viserys with a dragon would have been trouble with a capital T, to say the least.
Yeah. And let's have Joffrey on the third one.
Yeah, just...
Hey, that's Ramsay Bolton. Let's try him too. So the final guest in her imagination is Jorah, and he basically... This is the reiteration of a conversation they had when she arrived in Meereen, when he told her that Meereen was not her home, she shouldn't have stayed there. And it is an interesting piece of sort of self-reflection that she talks about being tired and just wanting to rest there and wanting to live a life there. Growing trees is the thing she uses as the sort of like...
Yeah, they burned all the olive trees, and so they've replanted, and she wanted to stay and see them grow. And of course... she felt obligated to finish what she started and ensure that her children were safe. So there's that. But also as a plot device, it gave the dragons an opportunity to grow before heading to Westeros. And
yeah, of course, yeah.
Learn to control them, of course.
Yeah.
And one final thing about her conversation with Jorah. He said almost the same thing that Quaithe said to her. He said, remember who you are. Remember your words. And Quaithe said, remember who you are. The dragon knows, do you? So that seems more than just, Martin forgot and wrote the same thing twice. That seems intentional, that they're trying to get her to remember who she is, remember her words.
Yeah. But at the same time, you've got to remember this is Daenerys's, I mean, yes, it's George Martin's, but it's Daenerys's thoughts. So it's not actually Quaithe, it's not actually Jorah, it's her remembering of them. And so that their words might cloud one another makes a certain amount of sense. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you put it into that perspective, because that's true. It's in her own mind, so the thought might be somewhere in her subconsciousness. But
yeah, here I am at the bottom of the barrel. I can't forget who I am, what I'm here for.
Yeah. I wondered if maybe that subconscious thought is trying to evoke fire and blood, and does that mean she has to be more ruthless to utilize those dragons for their primary purpose, and not try to be always the caring one, the good one? Sometimes you gotta be the dragon with it, invoke fire and blood.
In this same chapter, she cries again about the shepherd's daughter who Drogon killed,
but she can't remember. Hesea was the name.
Well, I'm glad you remembered it. I felt obliged. I felt free to not remember it if Daenerys couldn't.
That's fair. That makes sense.
So Drogon rescues her from possible discovery by this Dothraki. He then terrorizes the Khalasar, who stampede away from him. One horse gets it. He lands and eats this horse, and she's so hungry she jumps off his back and starts eating the freshly burned horse with him. Which can't be nice, but again, referencing Molly Schuyler, if she can eat a raw heart,
that's
she
true.
can probably eat a burned leg.
Yeah, when you put it that way. Yeah, when you remember the raw heart. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Khal Jacko and his Khalasar surround them on the floor. Now, that's the end.
Yeah.
The sense is she's been captured, but she is leaning against a dragon.
Right.
So the whole captured thing may be temporary.
Right. Well, first off, there might not be a worse collection of Dothraki to find her. We had just discussed Jacko and Mago both have an axe to grind with Dany. She has an equally sharp axe to grind with them. So it's not like this is some random call. This is someone that there is past...
it's also not someone
with.
she can deny her past to either.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Jacko knows that she was a Khaleesi and therefore needs to go back to Vaes Dothrak.
Right.
So, yeah, she can't really talk her way out of that, except for the fact, like you said, she's standing next to a fire-breathing dragon. But the dragon isn't the most predictable. Is he going to protect her and blaze them all? Is she going to hop on his back and they're going to fly away? Or is the dragon just going to fly away and leave her standing there?
Yeah, the thing about that is it feels like for the narrative sort of arc of the story, they are going to capture her. But it also feels like in this chapter, we got the sense that he was her bodyguard, and so he wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We'll have to see when it comes out.
We don't know. All right, good enough. Let's move on to spoilers, or this week we're going to call it speculation.
Right. Yeah.
Remember, you can join us at the upper tiers of the Buy Me a Coffee sustainer levels to get the spoilers/speculation. All right, thank you for the spoilers. TV.
Thank you for the spoiler assignment.
To background.
All right, well, during Dany's wanderings, she came across what appeared to be the ruins of an ancient village. And that village might literally have been one of the oldest in the known world. Because some maesters consider what is now the Dothraki Sea to be the birthplace of civilization, including where both the First Men and the Andals might have originated before eventually arriving in Westeros. Of course, what's referred to as the Kingdoms of the Grass predate the written word, so all histories are lost from those civilizations. However, there are legends. And one such legendary realm was ruled by the Fisher Queens. I thought this would be appropriate because we've got a queen in the Dothraki Sea in this chapter, so I thought I'd mention the Fisher Queens.
Who also fished while she was there.
Right.
For the one fish in the pond, which she then ate. So.
That's right. Well, the Fisher Queens ruled a kingdom that included the Silver Sea, which was a great inland sea located about where the Dothraki Sea is today. It's said that they ruled from a floating palace that traversed the shores of the Silver Sea. Wise and benevolent they were, so many sought their palace for their counsel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, you see, world building. He's as good as they get.
He really is. He's absolutely as good as they get.
Yeah. Comparison with the television show, as I mentioned in the spoiler speculation, this chapter was captured pretty much in a single scene. Drogon is hurt and nursing his wounds, and she's getting hungry and thirsty. Khalasar rides up, and she tries to convince them she's their queen, but they're having none of it. She explains that she's Drogo's widow, so they tell her that widows belong in Vaes Dothrak. Before they take her into captivity, she drops one of her rings so that her hoped-for rescuers might have a clue as to what's happened to her. But Drogon was in no position to help her at this point. That's why they were able to take her away.
I always felt that ring drop was a bit much because the Dothraki Sea is huge. And to find a ring... Now, I know they tracked down Khalasar tracks and that stuff, but still to find a random ring in the Dothraki Sea is more than finding a needle in a haystack almost.
You ever see Aragorn figure out what happened to Merry and Pippin based on the fallen leaf of Lorien?
Good analogy.
It's like he was watching it on instant replay.
I know exactly where it is.
All right, Pedantry Corner. Thank you, George Martin. Thank you so much, because he started the books with a stinker. And he's ending the books with a stinker as well. God bless him. Because this is bad. This is a really bad miss.
Let's hear it.
Did you notice it when you read it?
Yeah. I noticed I was thinking more of the clothing, but yes.
Yeah.
The clothes didn't burn off her, but her hair did. I thought that was... Anyway, go on.
Right. So, at a later stage in the chapter, she's talking about Drogo's funeral pyre, and she says, "The fire burned away my hair, but elsewise it did not touch me."
Yep.
And then she says, "The same was true in the fighting pit."
Yep.
Okay?
Correct.
But earlier in the chapter, it said her skin of her hands was pink and tender, but her burns were healing.
I know, yeah. She at the end of the chapter, she's eating with burned hands as well as she's eating the burned horse. So, yeah. That is a bit of an issue there.
Yeah. He needs an AI editor, is what he needs, to say, wait a second, hang on, she burnt or not?
Is she or isn't she able to be burned? I was thinking about the fact that her clothes remained intact, but her hair burned off in the fighting pit.
Oh yeah, because she is clothed here, but she's not completely clothed because she's been throwing up. She got rid of her tokar, which, God help me, that makes a lot of sense. Although it could have become a hat.
Yeah, she could have wrapped it around her head.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, she lost her hair, but not her clothes. It does seem a little unlikely.
It would be awkward for her to be wandering this entire chapter completely naked. So I get the decision, but I did think, how did those survive? It's not like she was wearing armor. She was wearing linens and light clothing that should burn fairly easily. Anyway.
But presumably her hair caught on fire and then she batted it out with her hands, which for once this time burned before it got to her clothes.
That's right. That's the issue, yeah.
All right, news and notes.
Well, we're almost down to the end of the existing books.
Are we? Are we close?
We're getting there. We're getting there. We were just talking before we started recording. Next week, we will record the final episode of the final book. And anyway, we just want to remind everyone of the plans going forward. After we finish the epilogue next week, the epilogue of A Dance with Dragons, we're going to take a bit of a break and assess how we want to proceed. So, there won't be an episode after the epilogue right away. We're going to take some time off. It's been a good long run. We're going to take a little break and discuss and just, see what we think, where we want to go from here.
Yeah. Oh, but before we do that, we're going to have a send-off party with our Discord community. We're going to do a live streaming event where we can all chat. So everyone, whether you're a sustainer or not, you can come to this. Just join the Discord community. We'll answer questions you might have and do whatever else strikes our fancy. The likely date of this event is Tuesday, June 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, US and Canada.
Yeah, so we'll announce that. Like, I'll put it on the social media and Discord and all that.
Put it in Discord. I mean, those are the people who can come.
Yes. So if you're not a Discord member, now's the time to join so that you can be a part of it all. And don't forget that for the time being, anyway, you can check out our Ghost of Harrenhal merchandise at ghostofharrenhal.threadless.com.
Yeah.
You
need to get it now. I mean, who knows? In our new incarnation, we might have different merchandise.
Right.
You'll have missed out on this forever. All right, let's conclude this one. Dany is frequently flying, but rarely controlling Drogon. But
she's a frequent flyer.
Frequent flyer. but like most frequent flyers, she's in the back at the mercy of the pilot.
Right, yeah. Frequently flying, rarely controlling.
Yes. But still, I mean, that's still good. I mean, that proves that she can get on and off Drogon without too much problem. It's not like that first time she got on Drogon, it felt like he might never let her do this again. That this might be like, you've cowed me now, but I'm still the boss. And apparently he's accepted her as at least partly the boss.
Yeah. Not enough to get out of the Dothraki Sea, but maybe over time they will continue to improve. And that's why I was saying before, did she give up too early? Did she think, I need to get back to my life in Meereen, where she could have been continuing to try and work on creating some sort of control situation with Drogon in the air?
Yeah. And was she pregnant? I mean, it's a mystery that won't have an obvious ending, until she gets pregnant. But even then, if she gets
Right.
pregnant, it doesn't prove she was pregnant here. But it's certainly grounds for us to believe that Miri Mazdoor's prophecy might be a lie, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as sad as it is that if she was pregnant, that she lost this child, but the meaning that she can possibly get pregnant again is a big deal.
Yeah, impactful to the rest of the story. For
Absolutely. Sure. But she, as you said, she never considered it as the possible option for the blood. So maybe because she considered it absolutely something that was never going to happen to her, she's never thought about it.
Exactly. If you think that, like if you have a vasectomy and your wife says she's late with her period, you might think, well, it's just that you're late. It's nothing to do with
right.
It wouldn't make any sense, and so you would discount it without thinking about it.
Yes, yeah. And another at least stressful situation is that she's been found by Khal Draco. It has been a struggle, first of all, to get this guy's name right throughout this episode.
Yes. If you hear sort of splicing of name, that's because Simon keeps messing up poor Jacko's name.
And I keep saying Drogo. I've called Drogo Drogon. It's been a mess trying to get the name.
You've called Drogon Dragon.
Yeah, I did. I called...
Which you can kind of get away with because he is one, but...
I called Viserys Viserion. We've been all over the map.
Imagine if Viserion was riding a dragon. I'd be like, right.
That would be something. But Khal Draco has at least is here with 50 of his Khalasar. So, as we were saying, if captured, either the best outcome is, if she's captured, the best outcome is for her to be taken to Vaes Dothrak to live with the Dosh Khaleen, because otherwise she's going to be raped and murdered. I'll
give you a slightly better one. She makes a deal with them and they take her back to Meereen.
Yes, so that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think there's any chance that they bow to her as a Valyrian dragon rider and mother of dragons, just like her current Khalasar did? Her blood riders had planned the same thing, to take her back to Vaes Dothrak, and then they changed their minds when the dragons were hatched.
Yep. It's definitely possible. I mean, because it's Jacko and he has reasons to fear what she might do to him, maybe not. But at the same time, he might try to build a bridge with her by going down on one knee and saying, Khaleesi, let us take you back to Khaleesi and Pet. Let us take you back to Meereen, where you belong.
Yeah. I think it's at least a possibility worth considering.
Right. I mean, if she can show that she's got any kind of control over Drogon, and Drogon will look around and stare these people in the eye, I might go down to one knee and say, you know what, I could worship you.
Yeah, because 50 men is a lot for a young dragon to handle. But if he burns the grass as well, and the grass catches fire, that could start a huge inferno.
Right. Yes. Interestingly, there's a scene in the TV show later on, which I mentioned in spoilers, which actually could be captured here and now.
Yeah.
With
true.
That kind of thought.
Uh-huh.
Well, up next, because this was the last named chapter of the entire extant books, the next and final episode is the epilogue of The Dance with Dragons. So we don't know what that will be because it's just called epilogue.
Yeah.
There's no way we've read it. So
epilogues have not been good to people that are in
if
the
you're
epilogue.
a POV of the epilogue,
look out.
Get your affairs in order.
I feel like I've been saying this to Stacy. I feel like we are riding toward a cliff, but we still have the same work every week. The same amount of effort goes in every week. So we've not really been able to notice and look and say, oh, we're about to hit a cliff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was thinking that today. I was like, man, this was a lot of work, this chapter, and you did by far the lion's share of it, but I still worked hard on this chapter, and I was like, I never get a break. And now I'm like, the break is going to be like ripping a Band-Aid off, because it's going to be like from 100 miles an hour to 0.
Yeah, because next week it's a long chapter, and we want to do a good job. So we won't. There's no real opportunity to sit and reflect on the fact that we are coming to an end here.
Well, that'll be our navel-gazing Discord. I think I've just put at least half the people off. Like, oh hell no, I'm not watching that. I'll catch the highlights. All right. Currently, there are 4 ways that you can help us. You could leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review. You could buy us a cup of Arbor Gold or become a sustainer at buymeacoffee.com/GhostHarrenhal. There, you'll find a tier to match your budget and interest. The upper tiers get you the spoilers/speculation. As Mackelly mentioned, you can buy merchandise from our store, ghostsofharrenhal.threadless.com, or you could just make a donation directly to our cause at our website, ghostsofharrenhal.buzzsprout.com.
And if you're looking for more ways to interact with us, well, one thing you could do is you could send us a text. The link is at the top of every episode show notes. Please just keep in mind we have no means of responding, but we do very much enjoy reading them. And if you're interested in keeping up on the latest Ghosts of Harrenhal news and developments, well, I suggest you check us out on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Ghost Harrenhal. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and YouTube.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.